No confirmation of that in any way, shape, or form.
No, but the streets are buzzing about it.
But there is a quarterback showing up to Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that the Steelers are going to bring in one Shedeur Sanders on Thursday for a top 30 visit. Now, they have the 21st pick in the draft this year. There seemingly is a possibility that Shedeur could actually just straight up be there at 21. There's also a possibility that Shedeur could be there at 5, 6, 7, 8, around there, that maybe the Steelers are saying, finally, you know what? It's about time we get a move on it and find our quarterback of now and later and act upon getting that quarterback. And unlike a team like the Giants, they could give up a future first to move up because the people running it are still going to be the people running it moving forward as long as they choose, they be Mike Tomlin, to continue to run it.
Correct.
He's not getting fired.
No.
He can go 0-17 this year. He ain't getting fired. Or at least he shouldn't.
Well, they just showed us if they're not going to fire him after losing 5 straight and getting embarrassed against the division rival in the playoffs, he ain't going nowhere.
So if you have confidence that your organization is going to have the same head coach for X amount of years moving forward, you can give up a future pick because that coach is the one that's going to have to coach his way out of not having a first-round pick. Should we read into this? Like, which Steelers possibility is more intriguing right now, Shedeur or Rodgers, over the next 24 hours?
Why not Dorsey?
So you're saying that...
Okay, or both.
So you're saying if you have to do the either or, do the Steelers trade up for Shedeur Sanders or do they sign Aaron Rodgers?
Sure. And could it be announced tonight?
Oh, man.
There's a lot going on in Steelers world right now.
I would probably lean toward them signing Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Yeah. I think the move should be to trade up, give up a future first-round pick in order to get Shedeur Sanders.
Spend the day with him tomorrow. Love him up. Get every piece of information out of him. You know, whatever the ridiculous Dion concern is for some teams, which I am saying it's ridiculous because the man's still at Colorado, right? And he is the young man's father, thus he's allowed to support his son, right? That ain't going to affect Mike Tomlin. He's not going to be worried about that. They ain't taking his job. Mike Tomlin's not going to be told what to do. So the Shedeur stuff, the Dion stuff is not going to affect him. So you're saying if you're the Steelers, love him up tomorrow. Get every piece of information out of him. Go at him if you have to on situational football, on athleticism, arm strength, all that kind of stuff. Leave there with a smile on your face and say, screw it. Why do we care about the 2026 draft while we're in 2025? Let's go get this young man. That's what you think the Steelers should do tomorrow.
Yeah. I think that's the most viable plan to solidifying the quarterback position long-term for that franchise. Enough with half measures, enough with Band-Aids. They need to go all in and get Shedeur Sanders. I just don't think that's how they're going to do business. Based on the track record, based on what they've shown us over the last half-decade post-Ben Roethlisberger. It's been Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid, and it feels like this offseason is more of the same. Now, I love the idea or the proposition of being able to have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback for now and Shedeur Sanders as your guy for later. I just am investing into a player that could actually help them in 2025. So I think that's the fascinating piece about how this all plays out. But with each passing week, you have to put more credibility, more credence into the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers could be pivoting to taking a quarterback in the first round rather than signing a veteran option.
See, and I would go door number 3. If I'm them, I would try to get both done. I would try to get both accomplished. I would look at what the Atlanta Falcons did last year and say it was shocking at the time, but thank goodness they went out and drafted Michael Penix Jr. because it did not work out with Kirk Cousins. And you're right. The Steelers have been doing this cycle where they've tried to put a Band-Aid over the quarterback position year in and year out, and it has not worked for them. The Aaron Rodgers proposition is what, a 1-year deal, maybe 2. If you're super lucky, you'll get 2 years out of Aaron Rodgers. But let's be real. We know that there's a finite amount of time left in his football life. If I'm the Steelers and he does elect to come there, I'm thinking this is tops. Why wouldn't I think that that's a great option for me to bring in Aaron Rodgers, play him this year, or at least part of this year if he's not good. And then I have Shedeur Sanders as not only my backup for this year, maybe next year, but hopefully for the future. And you take some of that pressure off of Shedeur coming in with all of these expectations on him to this great franchise that's desert thirsty for a future franchise quarterback by having a guy like Aaron Rodgers absorb that spotlight from him. That's what I would do if I was them, if I could accomplish both.
Yeah, I mean, if they're willing to give up a future first to move up, hypothetically, for Shedeur, now they may not because they may just sit there and say, hey, we can actually just wait to see if he's here at 21. I mean, there are so many options. If you think, like, I'm just thinking selfishly as a Pats fan, right? I'll go from 4 to 21 if you're going to give me next year's first, because then I'll take 21 and 38, and I'll move back into the top 10. Because or top 12, somebody will trade down in that spot, and then, okay, so I move down 5, 6, 7, 8 spots.
Yeah.
I'm going to get an offensive tackle that I need anyway, who's still going to be available, one of those guys. And now I'm going to enter into next year's draft with 2 picks, all for just losing a second rounder.
I completely agree with you. I mean, listen, back in 2019, Pittsburgh did it for a linebacker. They should be willing to do it for their quarterback. Remember, they moved up from 20 to 10 to draft Devin Bush once upon a time. Right?
What did they give up for that? I don't remember.
They gave up the 20th overall pick, which ended up being Noah Fant. They gave up a second-round pick, which ended up being Drew Sample, and then a third-round pick, which ended up being Lloyd Cushenberry. So no first-round pick to speak of, but still, I'd be willing to give up a first-round pick if that's what it took to move up 10 spots, 12 spots, whatever it takes in order to get Shedeur Sanders. They traded up in 2023 in order to draft Broderick Jones, and that was the deal where the Patriots ended up getting Christian Gonzalez.
That's a win.
So, I mean, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you've done it in the past in terms of moving up in the first round in order to get your guy. I just don't understand why you wouldn't do that when it comes to the quarterback.
You just have to make sure that he is your guy. That's why I think it's great that they're having him come in, that they're going to get to spend some one-on-one time with him, really discern whether or not he's their quarterback of the future. But if they leave that meeting and they think he could be the guy, they have to go out there and get him. They have to.
If we look at this just very quickly, let's just pretend Rodgers and Shedeur are going to go somewhere together. And then let's also bring in the previous conversation we had of Purdy at $58 million a year. Should they flip-flop? Purdy at $58 million makes more sense in the Steelers, and Rodgers and Shedeur make more sense on the Niners.
It does.
It's weird, but it really does make sense for them to flip-flop. Then the Steelers are just like, oh, we don't have to deal with this anymore. And the Niners are like, well, we know we can get to the Super Bowl with multiple guys. We've done it. We haven't won it, but we've done it. They should just all flip-flop. Just call it a day. The Niners and